Good evening and welcome to Separated by Water, the podcast, which is ostensibly for Irish fans of English teams, although it's become much broader than that. You're very welcome. My name is Colin Campbell. I'm a Tottenham Hotspur season ticket holder for my sins. My co-host and good friend, Paul, is a Forest lifelong fan. And we'll come back to that in a minute or two. But thanks all for being here. We have two great guests, Dave and Charlie, who have been on before, who have given us an in-depth appraisal of today's big subject. It really only can be Nottingham Forest. What on earth's going on in through the outdoor, the unhappy trees or the tricky trees or whatever they're called. But that's not for me as a Spurs fan. My job will be to draw out what on earth's going on and where we go with Forest. Paul, how are you?
Colin, I'm good, thank you. I'm delighted you can make it this time. For those of you who tuned in at 3:30 today, it was not Dave, nor Charlie, nor I that was absent. It was Colin. Colin was off doing what retired people do, playing golf badly and forgetting what his previous appointments are. I'm glad to be here. Glad to have my esteemed host or guests on with us, Forest fans. I think we're all in a happy mood tonight. But anyway, introductions first. Charlie, how are you doing?
Very good indeed. Thank you.
Dave?
I'm good, thank you.
Good man. Okay, well, Colin, I'm going to start off by a couple of analogies. The power cut is over, the famine has ended, and the storm has settled. I know, but that's how it feels. I know you can shake your head. Honestly, this has been a period of supporting Forest that I've never been as glad to get out the other end of in my life. We took a reject from Spurs, a manager, and he's gone. From you, he came into us and he done exactly the same thing with us, and I'm never as glad to get rid of a period of time with a manager in our club, and looking forward to Dyche coming in. But anyway, a couple of analogies. I just want to say we've got a few people listening already. Please subscribe and throw in the comments, and we'll start with that. Dave, I'll start with you. Ange is gone. We'll split this podcast into two. We'll do Ange is gone, and we'll say Dyche is in with Stone and Vaughan. Ange is gone. What's your reaction to that? About how it happened? Are you glad it happened? And what's your stance in the whole thing?
I think it's brilliant, to be fair, that he's gone. I think that, make no mistake or bones about it, we was in real bad trouble. You know, with them three teams that came up last year, like I've said before, all picking up points. They're all above us in the table at the moment. We've gone back down into the bottom three. Something had to be done, and something had to be done quickly, or otherwise we would have just stayed down that bottom end of the table. I couldn't see another win coming from anywhere. I couldn't see a clean sheet coming from anywhere. And we're not scoring enough goals under Ange either. So I think we would have just slipped right further and further down the table. So I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad Dyche is in. And I think the only way now is forward.
Great.
Okay. Very interesting. I have a question for Charlie. Charlie, I know that you are perpetually happy. You're a very fortunate man. So whatever happens, you remain happy, and that's good. But let me ask you, okay, Ange is gone, and Nuno before him, but you know, how do you view how this was handled with Ange's departure, especially following how Nuno was dispatched? You know, do you damage the reputation here or anything? Do you feel?
Well, Ange is gone. As you know, I didn't criticise Ange while he was there, but last Saturday at the game, you know, I make a good analysis of everything. And before the game, I felt the atmosphere in the pub. Everybody was happy. Everybody was talking positively about our team, but nobody was happy with Ange. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe I've got this wrong. Maybe Ange is not the man for the job. So I made it my business to, as the game came, I would watch Ange and Ange watch. But before the game, in the ground, our fans were singing loud and proud. I don't know if you heard it on TV. They were loud and proud. Every good move by the team was encouraged and cheered, and you know, the usual banter with Chelsea. And the fans were completely behind the team. But Ange showed no emotion, and I'm afraid I have to say I got this one wrong. I got this one wrong. Um, Ange was not the man for the job. You know, everybody can't be wrong and me be right. You know, and that's very unusual for me to say because I'm always right. But Ange was a bad fit. I think maybe we shouldn't laugh at somebody losing his job, but I think it's funny that as he went down the tunnel, he got his bag and went. You know, I think it's probably a shame that it wasn't done early on in the break, but maybe there was reasons for that too. You know, maybe they were trying to get other managers in. You know, and they couldn't just sack and leave us with nobody. But I have to say, and I think my son will back me up here. I have never agreed with a manager being sacked until last Saturday.
Right.
And I like the way I actually, if you go, there is only one boss, and that's the man who owns the club. No matter who you are, what your ego is, how you like looking at your shoes, or why you like talking about yourself, the big man made a decision, and the big man stuck by it. I'm happy.
Okay. Well, that is fascinating for me to hear. And probably in a way, yeah. I mean, I think we're all agreed, and I certainly say that I have the greatest admiration for any manager in any league who takes it on. You know, like people can say, well, he walks away treasuring X million pounds, and that's true, but it's not. You know, when professional pride comes into it and so on. I probably felt maybe it was a bit early for Ange. He needed to rehabilitate himself. You know, maybe look at the tactical requirements of the Premier League. A couple of people on Sunday in the Sunday Times I quite like. Charlotte Dunker had said that basically two things. The players just were sold on Ange's style from day one, from minute one. And I think I could see evidence of that on Sunday. And then Maranakis, in reaction to that, wanted to keep the fans on side. So he, you know, you know, pulled the pulled the plug really. Whether that's true. Alison Rudd basically saying that for all Ange's cheeky chappy mate and all this kind of thing, there were fundamental shortcomings in his management approach and his tactical awareness. And I think I've had two and a half or two and whatever, 2.9 match of Ange with Tottenham and with yourselves. And I go along with that. You know, we had so many defeats. Now, we're not well in a minute, but with so many defeats, particularly at home last year, something was wrong. You know, and it was only either somebody who cannot see or would not see who. And the danger, I think, probably for Forest was that they could have gone that way. Dave mentioned earlier on, and we've discussed it in the podcast. Interestingly, the three teams who came up looked like good bets to stay up. And that's going to put a number of teams, including, you know, the West Hams and the Wolves and somebody else in trouble. And, you know, Forest don't want it to be them. Well, look, guys, fascinating. Are we, to all three of you, are we agreed then it was the correct time to pull the trigger? You know?
Well, if I can come in there on that, and then I'll reflect that to the guys. A couple of things I'd say. No, it wasn't the right time. It was too late. It should have been at the start of the international break. I think that it would have given time for our new management to come in and work with a wonderful group of players. We have a wonderful group of players, probably the best group of players we've had since 92, 93, around that era, where Vaughan and Stone, who are coming in with them, were playing in the team. And I just think that it should have happened earlier and get this group of players in the right mindset. I saw a video today. It was a short video of them training. They had smiles on their face, Colin. Whenever Ange came into this club, he didn't engage with the fans, unlike his two predecessors who put his arms around the players and the fans, embraced the fans in every step, come out and interacted with them. Ange came out and looked at the grass, and it just wasn't, nothing was right about it. And I think you've reflected to it as well, that he came from Spurs and he was in a bad place when he left Spurs, and I don't think his break was long enough. And he didn't change what went wrong at Spurs. At Forest, he played a different type of football. He played the same type of football. Last year, we were defensively unbeatable. Our keeper won the Golden Glove, and we're hemorrhaging goals. I think we're 17 goals against us already, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. So I think it's too late. How he went, I don't know. I don't think we'll probably ever know. There was some small rumor that there was a bit of hassle in the tunnel between the two. I don't believe that happened. I think it did, but we'll wait and see. But do I think it was the right time? Yes, I do. Other than it being a bit late, he had to go. We couldn't let this run on any longer. We needed to get somebody in that will stable. And we'll talk about Dyche in a minute. Charlie, do you agree with that?
Was it the right time for him to go? No, he should have gone sooner.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it. That's it. He fooled me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
No forgiveness here. He wasn't gone soon enough. Yeah.
That's great, man. I'm delighted to hear you saying that. Dave, what do you think? Do you agree with Charlie on that? It was too late.
Yeah, I do. I think he should have gone definitely before the international break. So Dyche could have come in. He could have had like 2 weeks to try and turn things around. Instead, now he's came in today. We got a match Thursday night. So he's got, a day, 2 days maybe on the training ground to try and sort out that defence. But our defence hasn't changed really from last year, the players we've got. So I think it's going to be quite easy for them to slip back into how they was with Nuno. And I can imagine them setting up defensively with Dyche is what they did with Nuno. So I'm not worried about it being a quick fix at the back, because I don't think Ange spent any time with them defending, looking at how they was defending corners and how they was marking and things like that. I just think it was just all out attack. And don't worry about what's going on behind you.
Yeah, I agree. Colin, interestingly, we have a group chat. It's called Forest, our Magic group chat, and Dave and Charlie, I kindly added to it. And I put up a poll yesterday on it. I'll put up the one I put up first. Sorry, I put this up first and said, "How do you feel about the appointment of Dyche as our manager?" And asked for 2 answers. 10 people were for it. Enthusiastic of that were 8, and 1 was underwhelmed. I think it was Fran that was underwhelmed by it, and 1 person didn't put in a second answer. I then put in a second poll. I'll let you comment on it then. Which manager would be first choice? De Silva, Dyche, Mancini, or Benitez? De Silva gets 6 votes, and Dyche get 9 votes. So that'll tell you, I think, that the time was right for the man to go, and that moves us nicely on to Dyche.
Can I make an observation about that? Just, I don't know, guys, if it resonates with you at all, but what I find interesting about that is that 2 serial winners, Mancini and Benitez, who have trophies in at least 1 country and league championships and cups and European stuff and so on and so forth, handle big players, etc., got no votes. Not 1 vote between them. I find that slightly remarkable. Do you not? Or is that just are they old hat now? And versus Silva and Dyche, seems strange to me.
To me, on that one, with Mancini, I don't think he's managed like league football for since 16, 17, something like that, because he was in charge of Italy, wasn't he? Benitez, I don't know when his last job was. Benitez in football.
He's had a few, yeah. He's just maybe rested. The other thing, they could be resting and waiting for the actors to waiting for the big thing. But just it's funny, isn't it? That we talk about winning things, and guys who have won things don't seem to have the appeal now. I'm not judging that. I'm just saying interesting. Of the 4 of them, if you're asking me who to go for, I am not sold on De Silva. Frankly, I think Fulham could be in bother this year. I think they're nice to watch. They're a very attractive team in many ways, but they're on the wrong side of too many results. I think it's sort of Dyche-type mixed history with Watford and Everton. So I probably would have gone for Dyche, I must admit myself.
Why were you not attracted to either De Silva or Mancini, or why was Dyche the right choice for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other 2 that got no votes, I feel, are they're not the Nottingham way for me, if you know what I mean. I voted for Dyche because I felt that Silva didn't do well at Watford, didn't do well at Everton, and
Yeah.
he came to Fulham, and they had some good players at Fulham, and I don't think Silva is the man in the position we're in. We don't need a flamboyant, Mancini. We don't need a Benitez. We need somebody to come in who can. I think Dyche will actually appeal to the players. No, his little gruff ways, but he's a man of the people. He'll appeal to us fans. He'll appeal to the players, and that way, Maranakis will like him. And I think he's perfectly suited to this job. I won't go into the ins and outs of his skills and whatever, but he did a good job at Burnley. He saved Everton when Everton were all kinds of bother with money and players and if he's done that with Burnley and with Everton, he's coming to Nottingham Forest, where we have seriously, and you may laugh at me, or people might laugh at me. I think Forest have an absolutely fantastic squad of players. I think that the team is full of individuals that just need to gel and just need to be encouraged. And I think Dyche will actually push on with us. I don't think we'll be. Hopefully, we won't be fighting relegation in 3 months' time. I think we will. It's onwards and upwards for me. Just for me.
I agree with you. Everything you said there, I agree with you. Greeny 24, whoever that may be, I don't know who he is, says it's another rush appointment. I disagree. This was planned. I think a few things I'll say. De Silva was going to cost us another 10 million to get him out of his contract. It was going to be messy, and he would have been bringing his backroom staff and all that with him, and he wasn't a safe option. It would have been another gamble. I think Maranakis has learned. He's made a mistake, and I'm going to say something. I've had so many people say to me, Maranakis, that your owner's mental, your owner's mad, your owner's this, your owner's that. I tell you what, he's dragged us from the bowels of the lower leagues of the English leagues, and he's brought us up into the Premiership. He's made mistakes. He wears his heart in his sleeve. I accept that, and it's maybe not appealing at the best, but he's very good for this club. He's made a mistake, and I think he's learnt his lesson. He made a mistake with Ange and thought that he could rush this process and get us up into being a top 10 club. And I think he's maybe looking at it now and going, actually, we can't rush this process. He's got the squad. I think the manager that will pull that squad together, he'll galvanise them. He'll pull us together, and we'll put, as you say, Charlie, and as you've said, Dave, we have a great squad of players. And I think he will bring out the best in them. I think that he'll make them... I think that it's like all the individuals. I think that he'll pull them together. At the minute, we've got 30 million players, 30 million pound players sitting on our bench, not even getting a game. Although at one stage it did think we'd feel that with 30 million players on our bench.
30 million players, yeah.
Good call. I just have to say, my wife has just reminded me on the messages that I owe her a tenner, because I said that Dyche, or that Maranakis would sack Ange within 72 hours of the last game before the international break. So the tenner's coming. Please join us in the comments.
And my
Dave, go ahead.
Sorry, Charlie, go ahead.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, and my pint. You owe me a pint.
That's right. I owe you a pint. I always owe you a pint.
Sorry, Dave. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I maybe sort of as the with no skin in this, so to speak, want to take you forward a bit. We did a piece last week, Paul and I, on Sean Dyche in anticipation of his appointment, and I'd come up with some figures which may or may not tell you much. Basically, Sean has a long career in the Premier League. Nobody can disagree with that. Just under a year at Watford, where he had done quite well, and they wanted to go in a different direction. And like those teams that went down like a bullet without him, when they brought in one of their foreign stars. Can't remember the name right off. Burnley, he had put 10 seasons. Big scoring. He had Charlie Austin, then he had Ings. He had a number of really good forwards. He got them into Europe for the only time since the very early 60s. And it did okay. And with Everton, it didn't go well. I think he'd only won in the last 7 games. He had replaced Frank Lampard. kept him up, and then I think he wanted to move on. But I think there was a background at Everton where there was unease, to say the least, in the boardroom, and point deductions and this and that and the other thing. And I think the job was nigh on impossible. Everton have now settled and doing okay under Moyes and all that. His overall win percentage is 34.41. Nuno's with the 72 games at Forest, 73 games, was 38.36. And Ange, and his time at Tottenham, because we've not talked about Forest, was 47%, which seems very, very high, except that it was considerably lower than Pochettino's, Conte's, and Mourinho's, two of whom were perceived as relative failures. Now, what's my point? For me, and there's some terms you've used like where we're going to go and what we're going to be and what's going to happen in 3 months. I think based on how the owner has been posturing and dragged us up from the bottom, I think in some words you said, I think there's an existential question here for Forest is where do they see themselves? And as David Bowie was told in 1971, if you want to be a star, start acting like one, talking like one, being one, So what I'm saying is, does the appointment of Dyche, is it big enough? Is it starry enough? Where does it tell you that the club see themselves in the future? Remember, they finished, was it 8th? They're in Europe, big signings, blah, blah, blah. Then some catastrophe took place. So, you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say? Where do they see themselves? I mean, I've had the same question with Spurs, as you know, but go ahead.
Dave, you take a lead in that one.
Yeah.
First.
Where do we see ourselves? I think with last year we did overachieve last year. I think actually at the start of last season I would have I said I just wanted to stay up and be comfortable with about 6-7 games to go, and let's see where we could finish, maybe 10th, 11th, 12th last season, something like that. We have managed to get into Europe. It's probably come a couple years too early than where we should have been if we're slowly progressing and building and things. But I don't agree that Dyche is an underwhelming appointment at Forest at all. I think he's exactly what we need. I think with him that I saw a programme the other day when Dyche was being interviewed by Roy Keane, and when they was talking about their time at Forest, and Dyche talks about Forest, it's almost like we're his club. He comes from Nottingham. He's excited about being in Nottingham. He's happy. That he said that when he was out of work, he would like to come to the Forest ground and watch matches because we're his club. But he couldn't come and watch us when we was going through bad times, because in the press he said it was always, Dyche wants the Forest job, he's at the match and things like that. He walks his dog along the Trent every day and things like that. He lives in West Bridgeford because he watches us all the times. He knows exactly what our players are capable of and what makes them tick. And I think with him coming in, it's just going to be a massive feel-good factor, because all the different Forest groups that we're in and things like that, I haven't heard one person that is negative about this appointment. We're all looking forward to Porto. We're all looking forward to him coming in, especially with Stone and Vaughan coming in with him as well. It's just going to get the crowd right up for it, and I'd guarantee you that every supporter, over like a certain age, has thought of Ian Vaughan scoring them goals against Newcastle this past few days and smiled to themselves and thinking that they're back. The boys are back, and just watching them on the training ground today. Because we all know that there's like a load of ex-Forest players who all go out in Nottingham on a Thursday night. They all meet up, they all have a drink, they all have a laugh and things like that. And Dyche always goes with them as well. So when he's on the training ground today, he's come out, the first person he sees there is John McGovern. He's speaking to him like a mate and things like that. It's just going to bring a feel-good factor around the whole club, the training ground. They was all smiling and laughing on the training ground today. It's good to be a Forest fan again this morning.
Yeah, I agree. Do you see is a sideways step, or do you think this is putting us in an upward trajectory, or what do you think?
Well, I can't. I don't know, because Dyche ever been anywhere where he's got a good squad and he's got money behind him? To me, he's always been at places where he's had to struggle, like at Burnley. He's always been struggling.
Yeah.
As she was like as the Everton, they didn't have any money to spend, but he seemed to motivate all them players. I mean, if it wasn't for their points deduction, they would have finished 10th that season without any big transfers coming in at all.
Yeah.
So I think they give him some money. He comes from Nottingham. He's a proper Nottingham lad. You know, let's see what he's got. And I'm excited to see what he can do with this squad.
I agree, Charlie. What do you think? Like, if you look at that was a tweet that Amma put up yesterday. Dyche took Burnley 7th place in Europe with minimal investment. He took over Everton during the darkest hours, and without points deductions, he would have finished in 10th. Again, no financial backing. And the guy said he's actually excited. Are you excited? Are you excited with this appointment?
Absolutely. I'll tell you now, we're talking there, and we're talking about Maranakis making mistakes, and we all make mistakes. Yeah, that's true. Maranakis, I think, accepts. See, when I remember Maranakis saying somewhere he wanted European football. I think he wanted Champions League football. And I think when we got promoted and we survived the first year, he then pushed on and gave the money and bought players. But I think Maranakis was probably a little bit naive about the English footballing way. I think he thought he could just buy players in Champions League straight away. We did really well. As Dave, I agree with you, Dave. We overachieved last year. None of us will admit it, but we did. Of course, we overachieved massively, and delighted to be in the Europa League. But I think what Dyche is going to give us how Maranakis should have reacted with Nuno. Dyche isn't going to win the Champions League this year. He may not win the Europa League this year, but that is a work in progress. And I think Dyche is. I can't wait. Listen. On Thursday, Stevie Stone, Ian Vaughan, and Dyche, all no hair. I'm sure the fans will be singing. Ange got no song in 8 weeks or 8 months or however long he was there. He got no song. We didn't. No, but I will imagine if you're watching on TV on Thursday night, the Nottingham Boys songs will be flat out. I'm telling you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay,
I agree. And my tuppence in that, Colin, I don't see this as a sideways step at all. I see it as a good appointment. And that tweet sort of says how I feel. I feel that this guy is coming in. He's been given a better squad of players than he's ever had in any previous appointment. And I think that he can drive on. I think he suits the squad we have very, very well. These guys have always, I've said it before in this podcast, these guys always needed an arm put around them, these players. You know, the likes of a lot of our players were people who were rejected from their big clubs. You know, their Chelsea's and the Aina from Liverpool and Callum Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea, and they come in and they wanted to feel loved, and I think he can get their chins up. I think he done it at Everton. Everton were in a dark place, and he got them up. He motivated them and picked them up, and I think that this is a great appointment. And to anybody who says it's a sideways move, and it has been said to me, I disagree, especially with the backroom staff. And as Dave says, his connection with Nottingham, his connection with the area, and the fact that he used to come to the club and watch the team, I think he must be. I think he'd have walked over razor blades to get this job, to be honest.
Can I ask, was Stone Vaughan with them at Everton?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
well, that's okay, because
And Burnley.
Oh, and Burnley as well,
That's where I first noticed him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think Ian Vaughan was a tremendously underrated player.
Yeah,
so
80,000 quid he cost.
I know it was again. Well, there's a rumor Spurs were after him in the early '90s and never came to it.
Yeah,
as usual.
Yeah, they were. Yes, yeah.
For the record, I would love Sean Dyche to work. He's an English guy. He's very down to earth. I think he's a lot more intelligent and intuitive than people give him credit for, simply because he doesn't have a foreign accent. Sorry to sound jingless, but you know what I mean. These guys can sound very philosophical and make things sound more romantic than they actually are. Whereas Sean tells it as it is. Yeah, and there's lies, damn lies, and stats. I've given wins, percentages there, which is fine. But the reality we know that against the odds with Burnley and against a different kind of odds with Everton, he produced the goods time and time again. And maybe this is the chance that A, he's been waiting for, and B, he deserves. And he's certainly coming in with a lot of goodwill, which is good. He come in, if you're saying the players are training this morning with smiles on their face and so on and so forth. When does he take his first session? Tomorrow?
Well, he did the first training session today.
We already
He was in,
did.
that's. Oh no, he was there today. You could hear him laughing. You could hear him joking, and
I would foresee
the players seem to be.
Isn't it Porto on Thursday?
Porto Thursday, yeah.
I mean, they're no dozers, but I foresee a nice disciplined back five going on there, you know. And we'll stop Porto scoring, and then we'll try and get one ourselves, which probably harks back more to what Nuno was doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, no, Colin, we're always asking people to throw the comments in. I'm going to throw a few up there. Owen there said, I think this mess came when Edu came in with his ideas. I possibly agree with that. Maranakis thinks the sun shines out of his backside, and he's got a lot wrong. Yep, he has got a lot wrong. He has got a lot wrong. Talking about Dyche there, Jill says he's one of our own, and it will be sung loud and proud on Thursday night. I have no doubt about that. Amma has said there that Thursday night is going to be special. The roof needs to come off. I have no doubt that this place is going to erupt on Thursday night. I wish, of all wishes, that I was going to be there on Thursday night, because I think it's going to be like a new start to the season. I think the fans are going to get behind them, and there's a feel-good factor. As I said to you, Colin, I know that you didn't like the analogies, you were rolling your eyes, but it is like a big cloud has moved away from above the city ground, and we have got.
I love analogies.
You know, but I think really and truly, this last 4 weeks or 5 weeks, I have just been like, I didn't want to listen, didn't want to hear it about sport, didn't want to know what was happening, and I actually felt guilty about the slagging that I gave you last year, and I'm not joking about that, because it must have been horrendous watching your team language down to 17th, and that's what we were looking at. We were looking at it, but with better teams in the league, and as Dave said at the start of this podcast, we were going to end up in the relegation zone and fighting for survival. So now we're only 8 games in, with 30 games to go, plenty of time, a good season ahead of us.
Very early, and that was my point. The point hidden in what I was asking is that, you know, to me, Dyche couldn't possibly be keep us up here, and then we'll see what happens. Far too early for that. There's plenty to play for, and apart from the League Cup, there's plenty to play for in Europe and in the league, and just get on with it. You know what I mean? And there's a guy there who's probably well rested, unlike Ange, has a chance to think things through. He and his stolen Vaughan, and he'll be chomping at the bit to get going. What an opportunity for the man! With a really good team, a great club. A really good set of players, an ambitious owner, and European football. You know, that's not bad. That's not bad at
Charlie,
all.
can I ask you? I sort of asked the question earlier, but I want to put it a different way to you now. Is he coming in? Do you see him coming in as a firefighter, or gatekeeper, trying to keep us in relegation, or do you think he's coming in? I think with the 2-year deal that he got, is a big indicator. Do you think he's looking at driving us on? And how do you think he's going to do in Europe? That's the question I want to ask you. How do you think he's going to? I don't know how he done with Burnley in Europe. Maybe Dave or Charlie or Colin, you know the answer. I don't. But Charlie, I'm asking you, how do you think he'll do in Europe?
I think he'll do better than we. I actually think we're going to beat Porto on Porto are a good side. They won 4-0 away from home at the weekend, but I think we're going to beat Porto on Thursday. I think we'll be lucky to get a draw at Bournemouth, but how are we going to do in Europe? I'm hoping that we qualify for the next stage. I hope we get out of the league stage. I do. I don't think he's a fire. Look, you could say it's a firefighting job, but it's not really. The players are there. I think it's progression. I think we're going to look. I hope I'm not wrong. But I think before Christmas we won't be looking up from 18th, wherever we are at the moment. I think we'll be okay. we'll be okay. I think we can only. I remember long ago they said when Forest got relegated on the Clough, they said they're too good to go down. But this genuinely is a good. Even Dave, we know from watching them. This is a good squad. This is like
Good.
there's a lot of Premiership teams would love to have our squad. A lot of
Yeah.
Premiership fans would like to have our owner, despite what they all say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just
Dave,
for
how do you see him? How do you see him doing in Europe with and the league? Like, how do you overall see how Sean Dyche is going to elevate us now? How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I think he's going to shore up our defence. That's for sure. I think he'll shore that defence up well. And I think as long as we've got Jesus up front, where are always going to score goals in Europe as well. I think we'll qualify out the group, and then it just comes down to a little bit of luck, I think. But I think he's made this change early enough that I don't think our European adventure's been ruined. I don't think the league's been that much ruined, and things like that. And like I say, he knows the club, he knows the players. I'll guarantee you that while he's been out of work, he's watched all our games because he's a Forest fan, the same as most would watch on TV that can't get to the grounds and things like that. So I think we'll be all right, onwards and upwards. But what I would like to get your opinion on is, what do you think would be a successful season for Forest now?
Can I add just something somebody had asked there about how Burnley did in Europe?
Yeah.
They were knocked out in the qualifying round by guess who?
Midtjylland.
Olympiacos.
Wow. Yeah, you couldn't write it. You couldn't write it.
No. So I just thought that was worth mentioning. Sorry, go ahead, guys.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave. What was your question there? I was distracted.
I was just thinking then of what would be a good season now for Forest. Where do you think that we could finish this season in the league?
I think, and then I'll pass it on to Charlie. I think that we're now looking at. I think that's going to come in. I think he's going to, as you rightly said, shore up our defence. He plays very similar football to what Nuno does in a way. Don't forget, in Steve Stone, we had a right side midfielder, Ian Vaughan left winger, so they know what they're doing with the midfield, the wings. Big ball maybe up to Chris Wood as well. Just to give a wee bit of what I think is going to happen, I think that we're looking. I would take mid-table now, gelling this team together with a bit of a cup run, but more importantly, a good run in Europe, and get our fans back to that and listening to getting the players used to playing in Europe for whatever's coming ahead of us again. And I think that I've no worries about the rest of our season now. I'm not worried about it at all. I have zero worries about relegation or anything else. I think that we're going to go ahead. I'll make a prediction now. We'll finish 10th or above, and we will have a good run in Europe. I think we'll make it out the qualifying section. Charlie, what do you think?
Top 8 or better in the league, FA Cup quarter-final or better, and out of the league phase of the Europa League.
Very good.
There we go.
Very expensive.
Colin, give us your no skin in the game opinion about this appointment and about where you think it's going to take us.
I think it's a good appointment. I don't think it's an inspiring and enthralling one. I don't know who that would be, but I think it's a good appointment. I hope that Sean's given the opportunity to prove that he can take a club forward. So I think it's a good appointment. I think the timing is probably about right. How many games did Ange have? How few were they going to give him? I thought it would be end of October. So I have a feeling that Forest will be. It's hard to say. Well, there's a lot of traffic in that area when I talk about 4 or 5 leagues within the Premier League. Forest were hoping to get into League 2, Section 2, Spurs and Villa and Newcastle, and the teams that were sort of on the periphery of the Champions League places, maybe just below that. I see them in the top 10 and a couple of good runs in cups. I don't see them winning anything this year, but I see them as having consolidated last year, which at the minute looks very unlikely, but I think they'll do that. I see onwards and upwards. I do. Yeah. I think it's important. You don't want the talented players leaving. You know?
No, I don't. It's just on that, and I'm going to throw a question out there to all three of you. If the league, I think, has started differently. We've got Sunderland who are flying high, with Bournemouth flying high, Leeds doing okay. Who is the relegation candidates now?
Wolves.
Wolves and West Ham.
Yep. West Ham.
Yeah.
Just last night. West Ham were very poor last night.
But who's the third team? That's. I know Wolves are probably destined. Do I want to wish ill will on Nuno? Not particularly, but I don't want to see West Ham doing well either. So, yeah, let them go down if they can. But who's the third team?
One of the three, I'd say Wolves, West Ham, and one of the three promoted teams. I think one.
Charlie?
One out of state.
Brentford, Burnley, and one other.
Right, Wolves. Then that would have to be. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Jill is there. Colin, we need to visit the world famous ground. Maybe we'll go over for the Spurs game. Jill, my plan is that I'm going to be coming to the Porto game, or not Porto, Malmo. Is it Malmo on the 27th of November? If all things being equal,
Forest at the City, Forest Spurs at the City ground.
Yeah.
When? What?
If I were you guys, I'd take up Jill's offer there because that might be in the box.
I would certainly like to, because I've had my problem. My good travelling colleague, unfortunately, has taken a wee bit ill. I had to cancel a couple of games. So my diary, if you will, is open. And certainly, I would, Jill, if you're serious, I might scare you.
Oh, she is. They're a brilliant family, Jill and
I've been in Nottingham. I've been in Nottingham a couple of times with work a lot of years ago. I've driven past the ground. I enjoyed a couple of nights in Nottingham. I was at Loughborough one stage, and it'd be nice to go back. So okay, we'll maybe take that further. But guys,
anyway, thanks very much.
I think you've said everything you need to say.
I have, and I haven't. I think we need to do a bit of a review of. Charlie has sort of done a review of Thursday night, the weekend, and then we can't come on to the podcast. It's not all about Forest, although Forest have given us so much content recently that we had to discuss this. So we need to talk about the weekend's games, Colin. So I think you've got Monaco tomorrow night, and then Everton at the weekend. You're away to Everton at the new ground. Where do you see, or how do you see that going for you?
Well, I thought we'd beat Leeds
tomorrow night, first of all.
And we're wrong. And I was wrong, and it was poor. I talked about shape and commitment earlier on in the season. Got it. Didn't get it the other day. Spurs, there's a bit of background that I talk about the sections within the Premier League. You probably got the top four: City, Chelsea, maybe Arsenal, and Liverpool. The top van, and then there's the group under that. I would see Spurs in with Newcastle, Villa, maybe Man United, probably, and Forest were in there for a long time, and Everton want to be in there. Now, I had prefaced this Spurs Villa game as a battle of that phase 2, level 2 clubs, and Villa won well. And I see Everton doing that. Spurs need to wise up. They used to beat Everton all the time, and they can't do it. They have a number of big games coming up, and I just don't feel entirely confident about either Monaco or Everton. And then I think after that, we'll maybe need to do a Spurs special with "Have we stalled?"
Yeah. See, I have to say, Colin, I think Thomas Frank. I know that he annoys a certain element of fan base in the Premiership, and I'm one of them. He annoys me. Just his presence, he just does daft things. He just chewing his crazy hair, and he marches up and down chewing like he's trying to get something out of his teeth. I just can't warm to the guy at all. But not that aside, I don't know that he's proved himself. He was with Brentford with a good squad of players. Now Brentford are pushing on again this year, but
Yeah,
um,
it's probably what we were saying about Sean Dyche in another way. You know what I'm saying is that Sean proved himself against the odds doing the things with Burnley and Everton. Now he has a really great squad, good squad of players. Will he kick on? And we were probably
yeah,
hoping that Thomas would kick on, and he has that very professorial look about him, that he thinks it all through. But we were poor on Sunday, and why Sarr wasn't on, I'm not sure. We can say that we don't have a goal scoring forward; they're all injured. Needless to say. But then maybe need to use a wee bit more thought about getting round the players. Anyway, look, I think we'll say quite a lot today. I think that's to come. We'll have a look. And my prediction probably a draw at Monaco and a draw at Everton. There you go.
I think these will beat Monaco and Everton. I don't know what way that will go. Probably a draw. I think their ground is starting to warm up as a nice new venue to go to. Dave, Forest tomorrow night on Thursday night. Prediction of the score, and then Bournemouth at the week. Prediction, please, for both them games.
Porto won't be no mugs or easy to roll over, but I think we'll beat Porto at home on Thursday night. I think the fans will be right up for it from way before kickoff. And no matter what happens there during the match, if we go 1-0 down early doors, I think the fans are going to get right behind Dyche, Vaughan and Stone right from the off, and they'll sing all the way to the end. And I think we'll beat them, Porto, on Thursday. Bournemouth, I think we'll lose to Bournemouth. I've never seen us beat Bournemouth. I don't like ever. Bournemouth's that team where we never win. I've seen us be 2-0 up at the City Ground and lose 3-2 to Bournemouth. Last year, I got 2 tickets away at Bournemouth, and I can't remember where else we was playing a couple of days later. So Exeter it was in the FA Cup, I think it was. So I said to my wife Becky, you go to Bournemouth and I'll go to Exeter. And she went, okay, knowing that we get nothing in Bournemouth. And I think we got hammered 5-0 down there. And she said it was the worst day she's ever had.
Wow. Charlie, what's your predictions for, and you're right, Bournemouth have always been a bogey team for us, always. Charlie, predictions for Thursday night and Sunday at Bournemouth.
I go 2-0 or 3-1 Forest. I'm only giving Porto a goal that they might score later on, but I go 2-0. I think no matter. I think we'll have an emphatic victory there, just to let the fans and the club and the whole world know that look, we can play football. Bournemouth. Again, Dave, you're exactly the same as me. Ever since the time the roof blew off when we were coming over the Severn Bridge, Bournemouth is just one of those grounds. Do you know what? Here we go. I'll go 2-1 for Forest against Bournemouth, and that's because their bubble has to burst too. So I'm going to. I've just changed my whole plan. Forest win on Thursday. Forest win on Sunday.
Okay, I hope you're right. You're right, Colin. Colin, how do you think it's going to go for us in Europe? And I think you're going to win at Monaco, as I said a minute ago, and I think you'll get a draw.
I think you'll beat Porto.
We'll beat Porto.
2-1 or 2-0. I don't think they travel that well. Bournemouth, I admire, in a way, of his second team. I have a feeling that you'll draw with Bournemouth. Yeah. There you are.
I think new manager bounce. We're going to get a victory on Thursday night. I think the City Ground is going to be bouncing in a way that we all know it can bounce, and the noise they can make. And I know that it's going to be a special night. Are you going, Dave? Are you going on Thursday night?
Yes. Yeah. I'll be up there Thursday.
These are both. I know Charlie's going. These are both very lucky men. I wish I was going. I couldn't go this weekend anyway. I can't go this weekend. But I think it'll be a victory on Thursday night, and I think we'll get a draw at Bournemouth. I'm hopeful we'll get a draw. Guys, thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed that. I think everybody's mood is a bit better now that we've got that new appointment made. I want to thank everybody for the comments in the comment section. It was very busy tonight, and that's what we like. We like interaction with some people. Jill, thank you very much for your invite. We'll discuss that further. Thank you very much. Charlie, anything you want to add before we go?
No. I'll do a few recordings, as probably Dave will as well. We might send them on to you, Paul. You know, just the singing and things on the during the match, just to let you know how the atmosphere is. But you'll probably
That
see
would
it
be
on
great.
TV.
I was actually going to. That was going to be my closing. That was going to be my closing gambit. Is to ask you if you would do a wee vlog for me. If you
Yeah,
even
sure.
just want to, if you even want to just a bit before the game, a bit of a
Yeah.
chat at half time. If you take 2 minutes and just send me a 1 minute video, 2 minute video, and I'll put it all together, and it'll be up there before you can get out of the ground, you know, or shortly after. Dave, could you do that for me as well? Could you?
Yeah.
We short recording. Get somebody to
Yeah, that's
record you,
fine.
record yourself the selfie.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add before we go?
No, I'm absolutely fine. I can't wait till Thursday and get the feel-good factor back to the City Ground.
Yeah, here. Colin,
Thanks,
thank you very much for enduring all the Forest talk. We
Thanks,
will
Colin.
get back to more balanced Spurs Forest chat. I don't know what we'll do next week, but we'll. But I want to thank our esteemed guests for joining us. Great input, and as always, and it's great to have you on board with us, lads. Thanks very much for everything. Thanks very much for everybody in the site, the comments. Like, subscribe, and just if you put up we like in for us, it makes the biggest difference for us. Guys, thank you very much. Good luck on Thursday night. Enjoy the game.
Thanks,
Travel
guys.
safe, Charlie. And we'll thank you all. And we'll chat to you soon.
Take care.
Speak soon.
Thanks, lads.
Bye-bye.
See you Thursday, Dave.
You, Reds. Take care.
Bye.